Okay, so first I wanted to say why I'm doing this, and it's because I don't have a Twitter, and so this felt like the most appropriate place to say this stuff, because I'm under 30, so I don't have a Facebook account, and Instagram is the place where you spend 14 hours editing a photo, post it, and then caption it as being candid. Um, I wanted to first let out the ground rules so that this video isn't 78 hours long. So I didn't include people who are mainly known for the bad thing that they did, like Hitler or Vlad the Impaler. I also didn't include people who are just highly associated with the bad thing that they did or believed, like Columbus or Genghis Khan. And lastly, everyone here is presumably dead. So first, I want to go over the eugenicist. First off, I want to describe eugenics is like the idea of trying to decrease environmental devastation by decreasing the amount of people in the population. So first off, you got Ralph Maynard Keynes, who was created Keynesian economics, which sort of inspired the New Deal that FDR did in the Great Depression. Anyway, he was the director of the British Eugenics Society, which is pretty bad. You got Alexander Graham Bell, creator of the telephone, published a paper in which he listed the steps that would prevent the proliferation of the deaf, stating that we must determine the causes that promote intermarriages among the deaf and dumb and remove them. You got the famous lady, blind lady, Helen Keller, said, her puny sentimentalism has caused us to forget that a human life is sacred only when it may be of some use to itself and to the world. You got famous feminist and founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, who said, birth control is nothing more or less than the facilitation of a process of weeding out the unfit and of preventing the birth of defectives. You got Jacques Cousteau, the oceanographer who went to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, who said, well, population must be stabilized, and to do that we must eliminate 350,000 people per day. You got John Harvey Kellogg, who created Frosted Flakes and also the company Kellogg's, who wrote in the 1913 issue of Journal of Public Health, long before the race reaches the state of universal incompetency, the impending danger will appreciate it, and through eugenics and euthenics, the mental soundness of the race will be saved. Okay, before I go on to the next session, I want to talk about why I'm doing these weird voices. It's just so that if this gets clipped, then, I don't know, it differentiates the pretty bad things that I'm saying with who I am normally, I guess. Anyway, now on to the next group of people. You got your anti-Semites. So you got Charles Lindbergh, the first guy to cross the Atlantic Ocean on a plane alone. Anyway, he claimed that the Jews were needlessly pushing the U.S. into World War II. You got famous General George Patton, who was general in the U.S. military during World War II, and described Jewish displaced people as locusts, lower than animals, lost to all decency, and a subhuman species without any of the cultural or social refinements of our times. You got Richard Wagner, the composer. I guess he's known for, I don't know, quite a few things. Like he made Flight of the Valkyries with a song that goes ba 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 ba. Anyway, after his death, Adolf Hitler cherished his music and revered him as an early herald of anti-Semitism in Germany. Let's see, you got Tchaikovsky, who is known for making the 1812 overture, the song that's famous for being in V for Vendetta. In 1878, wrote that when his train stopped at a Russian railroad, he noticed a mass of dirty weeds that is poisoning, with that of poisoning of the atmosphere which accompanies them everywhere. And for anti-Semites, I wanted to end it with the honorable mention of Walt Disney, who, this is still fairly disputed. Okay, next on to just general racism. You got H.P. Lovecraft, the horror writer. I don't want to go into too much detail, just look up the name of his cat. Yeah. You got Dr. Seuss, another writer. His depiction of Japanese people in World War II is a bit sus. I think he's sort of the Dr. Seuss is sort of the exception to everyone else on this list, because he definitely made up for it with his anti-racist works later on. But I still am not the biggest fan of him, because he made up a whole lot of words in order to rhyme, and I strictly obey my father's most important rule of no false rhymes. Let's see, you got every single U.S. president. I wanted to highlight three ones. So you got George Washington, who purposefully moved slaves, or his slaves, between states every few months just to avoid them legally being freed. Then you have Thomas Jefferson, who had intercourse with the people who he was enslaving, which, the consent is sort of not... it's not too clear, but probably not so good. And I wanted to mention Teddy Roosevelt, who was sort of a eugenicist and said, "Society has no business to permit degenerates to reproduce their kind." And then, lastly, for general racism, I wanted to mention Mahatma Gandhi wrote in 1917 that, okay, I can't say this word because it might be a slur for native Africans, are as a rule uncivilized, the convicts even more so. They are troublesome, very dirty, and live almost like animals. The readers can easily imagine the plight of the poor Indian thrown into such company. Okay, so last two people, I wanted to just highlight a variety of things that they've done. So you got Winston Churchill, who supported eugenics as evidence when he said, "The unnatural and increasingly rapid growth of the feeble-minded and the insane classes constitutes a national and race danger which it is impossible to exaggerate." He did a genocide known as the Bengal famine, and he defended other colonial genocides when, in 1937, he said, "I do not admit, for instance, that a great wrong has been done to the Red Indians of America or to the black people of Australia. I do not admit that a wrong has been done to those people by the fact that a stronger race, a higher grade race, or at any rate a more worldly wise race, to put it that way, has come in and taken their place." I also forgot to mention Winston Churchill's famous for being the Prime Minister of Britain during World War II. Then I wanted to end on Henry Ford, who people say that he created the car. No, he didn't. Also, he's known for starting Ford and also, I think, Chrysler. Anyway, so his anti-Semitism, quite evident. He popularized the anti-Semitic conspiracy known as the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. He spread that through his anti-Semitic newspaper, which he required be passed out at all of his car dealerships, and he got the most prestigious award any civilian could be given by the Nazi government. He was quite anti-union, had quite a bit of worker abuse in his town of Fordlandia, and he's very anti-jazz. So he promoted square dancing in schools just to stop the spread of jazz that he viewed as Jewish. He was also very anti-short skirts. Yeah. Okay, so now that all that's out the way, I want to say, and on, yeah, I didn't include every single person who would probably fit into being worthy of being canceled. I also wanted to mention that, yeah, what we should learn from this is don't worship people from the past. Yeah, I don't know. If this is good enough, if this video does well, then people like it, then I might make a part 2 where I include some of the people that I left out. Anyway, cool. If you like this for some reason, then, I don't know, like, subscribe, share, notification bell, the whole shebang, Cool. See ya.